JMac Customs rigid mount allows you to attach the JMac Customs MMS handguard, and it makes the front end of the MMS handguard more rigid. So when you're installing accessories such as lights and lasers, it allows you to maintain a much more rigid surface, which is going to allow those devices to maintain zero, especially with the use of lasing aiming modules. In this video, I'm going to show you how to integrate the rigid mount into your MMS handguard installation. For this installation video, I'm going to be using this M70 rifle here. Now we're going to install the MMS handguard the same way we would if you've seen our previous MMS installation video, but in this one, I'm going to integrate those rigid mounts. The first thing we want to do is determine where our rigid mounts are going to sit on the MMS handguard. For this, you want to go ahead and loosely assemble your handguard and put it into place on your firearm. To attach the rigid mount, you can use any M-LOK accessory such as our RCQD or one of these 1913 accessory rails. So using this 1913 accessory rail, I'm going to go ahead and place it on the MMS handguard and determine where I want it to be for final installation. The rigid mount can be installed anywhere on the MMS handguard, but for this video, I'm going to install it just in front of the gas block on this M70. Once you've determined where your rigid mount is going to sit, you want to go ahead and take note of where that M-LOK accessory is on your MMS handguard. And to prep your M-LOK accessory for installation, you want to go ahead and remove any of the hardware that comes with your M-LOK accessory. We will be reusing both of the screws and one T-nut. Before we set the rigid mount into the rail, we want to make sure they're set up properly so that there's a slight gap in between this thinner and thicker portion of the rigid mount, and we want to make sure that the contoured end is going to be facing inwards towards the barrel. Depending on your barrel profile, you may have to widen or make this little gap here more narrow. That way it's going to be held in place once we remove our M-LOK accessory. Now that we determined where we want the rigid mount to sit in the MMS handguard, I'm going to go ahead and put that rigid mount in place on the inside of the handguard. And then I'm going to loosely attach my 1913 rail slot with one of the screws. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Once you have the rigid mounts in place, you want to make sure that the lowest part of the contoured section of the rigid mount is going to be parallel with the barrel when you slide your MMS handguard into place. From here, I'm going to go ahead and install the MMS handguard. For the purposes of this video, I'm just installing the lower handguard, but if you're installing the railed gas tube, you would be installing that as well in this step. So you're going to go ahead and put your MMS handguard in place. If you notice that your rigid mounts do not fit around the profile of your barrel, you may need to screw them in or back them out to give you more or less space. And once you've attached the upper and lower mounts of your MMS handguard, you're going to go ahead and torque those two screws into place, as well as the 4 screws that attach the MMS handguard to the lower mount. Once you have your MMS handguard installed, you're going to go ahead and remove your rail accessories. Once you have your 1913 rail section removed, you're going to go ahead and tighten your rigid mount just until it makes contact with the barrel using a flathead screwdriver. And once your rigid mount is installed and making contact with the barrel, we're going to go ahead and reinstall our 1913 rail section or whatever M-LOK hardware you happen to be using. And we want to make sure that we mirror this process on the other side as well. And once you have your rigid mounts installed with the M-LOK hardware in place, you can go ahead and reassemble your firearm. And there it is, the MMS handguard installed on this M70 rifle using the JMac Customs rigid mount. You'll notice on the end here, as I try to flex the MMS handguard, there is no flex, it's rigid. If I want to mount lights and lasers to the end of this, I don't have to worry about it moving or losing zero. If you have any additional questions on the rigid mount or the MMS installation process, be sure to reach out using the contact form on the JMac Customs website. Thanks for watching.